It is time.
Are you guys ready to listen to some Radiohead?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. So I'm newer to Radiohead, but because of EJ, I actually really do like them. Dylan, have you heard of 15 Step?
I think that is the single song I have listened to the most amount of times in my life over any other song.
Really?
Oh my god.
I know it like the back of my hand.
Oh,
Yeah, love
man.
this tune.
I'm excited because this is going to be my first time listening to it, so I'm really excited. This is 15 Step by Radiohead from their album In Rainbows.
It looks like this is the live version.
It is the
right?
live version from the basement, from their album
Cool.
In Rainbows.
Live from the basement.
It's an interesting shuffle. Epic.
Yeah, it's in 5, and it grooves so hard it doesn't feel like it's in odd time.
A proggy thing to do.
Uh-huh.
Ooh. He's such a natural artist.
Oh, yeah.
His control.
Goosebumps. Ugh.
And the bass when it comes in here.
This bass fill right here, yeah?
Yep.
Oh, no kids cheering in the live version.
So how you feeling, Kai? How you like this?
I like it a lot. It is in, and you said, which time signature was that in? You said
5/4.
5/4, yeah.
Yeah, that is a very interesting time signature, but I only noticed it after you guys talked about it, that it was counting off, but I really like it a lot. I like how it's layered on, or that it feels like it's going to get a lot thicker at the end.
It's that same time signature of like Dave Brubeck's Take 5, which is another favorite of mine too.
Oh, yeah.
I really like how deliberate when you guys pointed out that bass part, it wasn't even something that crazy, but it's just so prolific because you know that he's like choosing like the right time, the right thing to put. And I feel like that's like this whole entire song too. It's like very, very deliberate. And another thing is that a huge, world famous band like Radiohead, I like how these live, studio cuts really bring it down to like a human level, and you're able to like connect with them as like living, breathing human beings that like you'd see on the street instead of like, this mythical thing that like you don't know what they look like. And because like I feel like a lot of my favorite bands, like I kind of like have an image built up in my head of like, random pictures I've seen on Wikipedia and like whatever I see like on stage. And so it's cool to see like them just kind of like wearing a t-shirt, hanging out and doing their thing.
Dylan, you said this song is possibly the song you've listened to most in your life, right?
Yes.
So where were you and what were you doing the first time you heard it?
Oh, God, that's a good question. I think the first time I ever heard it, I was in high school. I was living at home and sitting in my bedroom, um, trying to get into Radiohead
Right.
because I didn't love them at first, and so many musicians and friends and colleagues that I really looked up to were obsessed with them, and I couldn't figure it out. And I remember saying, I'm going to listen to every album in chronological order, and then In Rainbows wound up being the one that turned me, and this is the opening track from that record. So I think I was in the middle of like a month-long quest to finally like Radiohead, and this one really changed everything for me.
So another question on top of that: why do you keep going back to it? You said you've listened to it a lot. I want to know, like, what about this song makes you keep coming back?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I just think it's one of those songs that, especially mostly really in the studio cut, there's so many little layers and production details and nuances to pick apart. And it's like one of those songs I find where you hear something new every time you listen to it. If you have if you're opening your ears properly. I also just loved, again, kind of how I touched upon earlier, like how hard it grooves in odd time. That bass fill is a big thing that kept me coming back, and the outro. And then I think after like the initial obsession kind of wore off, it started to just become a really nostalgic thing for me because music is so deeply linked to memory. And I listen to this song and it almost takes me back to that place of where I was in high school. Nowadays when I listen to it, it kind of makes me feel like I'm on the school bus on the way to school, just gazing out the window, like pondering all my really serious life issues at the time.
I didn't finish my paper in time.
Yeah.
Does Jenny like me?
Yeah, my girlfriend dumped me after 5 days. Oh man,
I'm never gonna financially recover from this.
So yeah, nowadays it just takes me back, and then the nostalgia is what keeps me listening. Aside from the fact that I just think it's a perfectly done song.
Yeah, I actually had that exact same experience with King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Everyone was telling me how great they were, and I listened to a few songs in passing and didn't really get it. And so I listened to, they have like a billion albums, but I started from the beginning, and it was at like an album called Gumboot Soup, which I was like, oh, okay, I really, really like it. And then I feel like with a band like that, just like a band like Radiohead, when it clicks for you, then it's such a joy to go back and see, even from the beginning or things that you panned over and look at it in a new light where it's like you're seeing the perspective that the band's really finally trying to go for.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. It's a beautiful thing, and I feel like you only get a certain amount of those experiences in your lifetime. There's only going to be a couple bands that do that for you. And so you really, you take it all in when you stumble upon a band or an artist that does that.
Right. I like the E-drums too. It's an interesting choice.
It's very crunchy.
Sounds like disjointed almost, like an old EDM song. His bass playing is so on point. And I like how it's like the driving melody too.
Yeah.
That walk up is so epic.
Very cool. Have you ever heard that live version before?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I certainly have. Yeah, the From the Basement. I think I had an illegal bootleg of it. Don't tell anyone. And I, if it was a physical copy, I would have worn the shit out of it. The amount of times I listened to it and watched it.
I love that. King of Limbs, they also did that whole album. They did this whole album in Rainbows too. So it's a definite for Radiohead fans. Go check that out.
Oh yeah. There was the King of Limbs. There was a period in my life where every night before I would go to sleep, I'd get in bed, put headphones on, listen to "Give Up the Ghost" live from the basement, shed a tear or two, and go to sleep.
Have you ever listened to much Philip Glass?
No, not really.
So Philip Glass, I was kind of I was just thinking about like Radiohead's like their chord structures and everything, and kind of did a little bit of like searching around in the internet, and somebody in one little article mentioned something about how a lot of their chord structures and stuff sound kind of like Philip Glass, and so I was like, ooh, Spotify, Philip Glass, and he's this mainly piano player guy, which has, and I'm like, he has to be. I've never seen it said, but I would ask Tom New York this if I met him, if he listened to a lot of Philip Glass, because the chord structures and everything and are a lot reminiscent, or at least in the same school of Philip Glass. And it's just, if you like Radiohead, check out Philip Glass. It kind of has that same mood, but it's a lot more subdued.
Cool. I absolutely will.
Thanks for the suggestion, EJ. And we have in the chat, we got Casey Wee. Casey Wee says, "Hey guys,
What's up?
How's it going, Casey?"
What's up, Casey?
Yeah, Casey's from Big Something.
Yeah,
he was a great band, and then we talked to music with Casey not too long ago, and Casey was recording music at the time that we were talking to him. So that's cool because you're recording music right now too. Seems that we're catching people at the best times when the juices are flowing, and that's when I want it too. So it's been good, right? Because I feel like when you're in the studio, you're in this like hyper creative mindset, right? Where you kind of have to be open, and then there's like all the different personalities that you have to navigate to like, make sure everyone's happy with everything, and then keeping on time, and it's just such a momentous occasion. So very, very glad to be a part of it for Casey and for you too, Dylan.
Whew. That's awesome.
Hi, this is Mike with Galaxy Jams Reacts. We hope that you enjoyed that React video. Be sure to check out the links below of when we're going to be live streaming our next show, and also how to watch full episodes. Please hit that subscribe button. Every single one helps.